Paji, what's the maximum amount of money you've made from one stock?
I would say that'd be around 12.5 lakhs
Wow.
Oh,
from
wow.
one stock. But that was the post-COVID rally. Everyone was making a lot of money. I just think I got tremendously lucky. And I was a bit ignorant at the time and I let it run and it worked out just fine.
Paji, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਇੱਕ ਲੋਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਸੀ. Hi guys, I'm Sid.
And I'm Veera.
Welcome to another episode of The Balanced Path. Today we have with us Karan Gulati Paji, That Sikh Investor. Full disclosure, I do daily vlogs and this guy has been actually not one of the reason that I do it, because he kind of gave me a concrete way of how to do it.
Right.
Because I saw his content, I was like, yeah, theek hai, aah kam karte hain.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for that, and thank you for coming
Coming on
here
the podcast.
and spending time with us.
Yeah.
Wow. So I don't know. I won't call this manifestation,
Right.
but that would be too cliche to say, oh, I manifested this. But like you're sitting here, it's actually something that we've always wanted to kind of do, and you're here now.
You know, as soon as I got your message, I knew that this was going to be a priority. I wouldn't be leaving Jalandhar without getting this podcast done.
Wow.
Because it's a bunch of like-minded people getting together. And it's not often that it happens.
Right.
And one of the major things that you might have also realized about social media is it tends to build a community which can't be built otherwise.
Right, absolutely.
And this is an effort towards that as well. Engagement, YouTube, metrics, all of that is secondary. They come and go. But the community, even if we impact a single life today, the job here is done.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think you say the same thing on your.
Pretty much.
We've said this like a couple of times on the podcast as well. Like if one person I feel like is benefiting
Yeah.
from this,
100%.
yeah, we're like making a difference.
That's something that I got to know about content as well. Make your video as if you're speaking to one person alone. Help that one individual and you'll end up helping so many.
Similar.
And that all starts with helping yourself first.
Absolutely.
Because,
Because you have to show, if you say something, you have to kind of have skin in the game, Because
Yeah.
you have to kind of show that I'm doing the same thing. This is working for me. This might work for you.
This might work for you as well. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you. So I know you from obviously Instagram.
Right.
When I started following you something that kind of struck out to me. This is because I do the same thing as well. You trade full time. I don't trade full time, but I saw
Right.
stocks on your reel. I was like, okay, this guy is a stock trader. Maybe he does something else in life as well. But then I realized you've pretty much given up your earlier life,
Yeah, for sure.
and you've come to Dehradun, where you live with your parents and your doggies,
Yeah.
and you do full time trading.
Yes.
Now, I want to go back to when you weren't doing that. What had you planned in life? Like, what were you going to do if not come back home and do trading?
Honestly, I've been disillusioned for the longest time in my life. I didn't have a clear path as to what I want to do post high school. I absolutely didn't know what career I want to get into, whether it's management, consulting. I didn't know what these things mean.
Absolutely.
Right? So I go to Delhi University, Kirodimal, whatever college I got with my very
Percent.
average grades.
Percent.
I got in there, and the below average grades also came because of the lack of discipline.
Right.
So there's this voice within me says, listen, you're meant for more. The output is just not there. And it causes a bit of psychological pain every now and then. On some days that you're not distracted or you're not inebriated, for example. That voice nudges you. And then I go to Kirodimal, doesn't work out for me. Then I'm like, okay, let's study law. Looks like a decent thing to do. I'm good at reading. I love knowing better stuff. I can speak decently well, which I'd already known by then. So I did law and I went to Pune, 5 years, great time. And then I wanted to practice law because I loved the idea of litigation. I didn't like the idea of being confined in an air-conditioned room,
Right.
which is corporate law.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though you're getting paid superbly
Absolutely,
well.
yeah.
My first salary I drew was 15,000 rupees.
Right.
And my rent was 30,000.
Wow.
So, you see? But the financial markets had always interested me thanks to my father.
Okay.
He'd made a lot and lost a lot in the financial markets. And he's like, okay, if you know what you're doing, money can be made.
Right.
But I still didn't know whether I want to go the fundamental route of things or I want to go the technical route of things. But we kept reading books and figuring stuff out. And everything culminates towards the end of 2019 and early 2020 when I'm about to leave my job. Not for anything else, not for trading, not for content, just to figure out what I want to do in life. I come back home because of COVID and life just takes me on another path, which
Right.
is destiny, to be honest.
Right.
And when you like figured out that okay, I want to trade, did you do a course? Did you like sit down with your father? How is it that you actually started investing money?
Right. So I got in touch with this junior from school, Devang. He's from Amritsar. And I got in touch with him and I'm like, yo, I want to learn a bit of the technical analysis and stuff. Paid him a very nominal fee to teach me some concepts. And the rest is honestly just self-education out here. You have very few books. Now, that's the interesting thing about trading. If you want to be a good doctor or a good lawyer, you could fill this entire room with books and maybe they won't be enough.
Agreed.
But you could fill this cabinet with books and you're ready to go as a trader. That's all you need to know. Because what's lacking now is the experience which you'll get in the markets.
Once you
actually start trading, start making decisions, buy and sell decisions. And I'm like, okay, I'm a voracious reader. Let's get it done. It was COVID time. I had all the time in the world to read and I made good use of it.
Wow.
And that's how I got started. So if anyone wants to learn trading the proper way, find the basic books, which I keep talking about on my Instagram all the time. Peruse them, study them, work with them, and you'll be good to go. Then you have to make your buy and sell decisions. And that's going to teach you more than any course, whether from me or a webinar from me can teach anybody.
Wow.
What would be the top 3 books that you would recommend?
Right, for starters, I always recommend the 2 books by Mark Minervini, because the first book by him, Trade Like a Stock Market Wizard, focuses more on fundamentals. And then you have Think and Trade Like a Champion, which builds upon the concepts in the first book. It's more on technical analysis, and his specific entry point analysis, which is the VCP, the volatility contraction pattern. And then you can just add an O'Neill book to that, how to make money in stocks.
Right.
With these 3, you're good to go. And then there are certain more advanced books which are beautiful. Trade Like an O'Neill Disciple, which you happen to buy seeing my content,
After
I think.
looking at it,
Right?
yes.
That's a beautiful
That's a
book.
beautiful
But I would not recommend you begin with that. Read these 3, do justice to them. They're like 250 pages each. They're not
Right.
thick books.
Right.
They're not complicated. And you will know so much more than you did earlier. And you'd be very grateful for having bought them.
I'm very grateful for the book.
Right?
that
And I'm
I-
sure, you know what? One thing
It's
I'd
very nice
recommend to
book.
you is go back to it every
Yeah,
6 months.
yeah,
It's going to teach you certain new things every time.
I agree. I often like sometimes I'm sitting in front of the chart, I'm like, okay, I need to refer back to the book. Like, what did he say?
100%.
What did he say? And every
Yeah.
time I open the book, I'm like, okay, now it makes sense. It's making more sense as to, certain small things that I may have missed the first time.
Certainly. And I think you should develop this attitude of trying to challenge the author as well. If he says this and it doesn't work on the screen, then you got to take a note of that. And you got to build a book of evidence as to when it works and when it doesn't. Because if it works 80%, 70% of the time, then it's a very worthy concept.
Right.
But if it has a 20% success rate, according to your analysis, then you've got to challenge the concepts in the book. And that's just going to get you deeper into the trading world, and which means you're going to create more purpose out of it, and you're going to be more mindful. It's a beautiful journey. It's a very superb intellectual pursuit for sure.
Right. And like for beginners who want to kind of start and get into investing, can investing in the trade, in the stock market be like a full-time profession? Can they leave everything else like you and make a decent sum of money?
That honestly depends on the money you're starting out with. If you're starting out with 1 lakh, how are you going to pay your bills?
Agreed.
Because I can sell a course saying I'll turn your 1 lakh into 10. That's a lot of gain that you'll have to do.
Absolutely.
If you want to make your 1 lakh into 2 lakhs, you're going to have to make 100%.
Wow.
And if I say I'll do that in 1 year, how many investors in the past year made 100%?
Not many.
Not any for sure, right? Not any. So you got to be realistic. If you're working with 50 lakhs, a 10% gain is 5 lakhs, which is good. But if you're working with 50,000, a 10% gain will do nothing for you. So it's a game of percentages, and you've got to start with a decent amount. If you're trading, I think don't start with anything less than 5 lakhs.
Right.
Yeah. Because the interesting thing is the trade has to have you invested in it. If I buy something for 50,000, I wouldn't even care.
Right.
If it rises, falls, no problem. But now if I have 5 lakhs in a trade, now I'm invested. Now I'm checking it. Now I know my stop losses. So that's how one should begin. But no, you cannot leave everything out of the blue. I would say focus on creating more income because the markets aren't going anywhere.
Right.
You can also trade on the side. You can become a swing trader. Look at your weekly charts. Don't suspend everything, because this time you can build yourself up, make yourself so valuable that you create more and more money, and then invest it based on your knowledge for sure. And it's an ongoing process,
Right.
a lifetime.
And what is like, let's say I'm starting off and regardless of what capital I have invested, maybe I'm doing this on the side, what is a good percentage for me to kind of get out of the stock market every year, which you would say, okay, this is a decent amount of...
Anything that beats the market.
Okay.
Even if you beat the market by like 1%, it's fine.
And what's the average the market is giving out? Like,
It usually tends to give like 12% annually over a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're averaging 15, you're honestly a very good trader. But
Right.
there are people who do like 70% in a year and then 250%.
Wow.
And then when the times are weaker, they do a minus 5% and stuff. So this happens all the time. Markets can be outperformed, but it's tremendously hard
Mm-hmm.
and it requires like tons of discipline. And you got to be fanatic about it almost.
Right.
You got to think, sleep the markets for sure.
Makes sense. This makes me somehow correlate, the concept makes me correlate to a lot of things in life, not just...
100%.
Yeah, it's just not like the markets, it's just anything. I feel like if you know it a little bit, like if you have the discipline, you know a little bit, you'll be a little bit decent at it. And the more you read about it, the more you are invested in it, I feel like you get better at it.
I'll
And
tell
of
you
course,
why the markets are so beautiful, because like you said, everything's connected to reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Firstly, if you want to be a good trader, you have to be obsessed with the process.
Yeah.
In life, you've got to be obsessed with the process. We are talking here today, you guys are obsessed with the process. The outcome may or may not come, but you're solely focused on trying to do this better. That's what you want to do in the markets as
Right.
well.
Right.
Try to
Yeah.
take a good trade. Whether it turns into a loss or a profit is really something to be thought about later.
Later.
And secondly, is the most important thing in life is bouncing back from mistakes. The market gives you a loss every single day. How do you come back from it? Mentally.
Right.
Financially, you'll come back because let's say you have a side gig, you have an Airbnb running. What about mentally? You don't ever want to come to a point where you get scared of sitting in front of the screen because
Yeah.
that day you're done.
Yeah, yeah.
The markets will defeat you.
I think that's the question I wanted to ask you, as in like, this happened to me as well. Now I'm better. But I have friends who have told, okay, you should invest.
Yeah.
And once they invest, they get so anxious that they want to check their phone all the time.
Mhm.
You know, even if it's a swing trade, it's going to like, nothing's going to show up in, let's say, the next month, 2 months, but they're like, oh, aaj itna kam ho gaya, aaj. So
Right.
how do you kind of counter that feeling of constant, like, that anxiousness?
The only thing is you have to know your time frame. Because if you're a day trader, then you better be anxious. You better be on top of your position. But if you know I'm going to keep this for 6 months, things are looking good. In technical parlance, if you're looking at monthly charts, for example, then you've got to think in terms of a year, 2 year, 3 years. But if you're looking at a 1 hourly chart, then you got to think in terms of a week or 2 weeks.
Right.
If you know your time frame very well, you don't have to be really anxious about it. You see, markets don't force you to trade. When before initiating a trade, you already know where you want to buy,
Right.
and should things go south, where do I want to exit? When you have both things planned out, what worry is there?
Right.
Yes, if it does fall and you exit, what is that loss doing to you financially and emotionally? If you've got to pay for your child's education and that money is required,
Right.
then you shouldn't be investing in the markets anyway. So you go to sleep very soundly, and this is all because I don't do futures and options.
Okay.
Yeah, I've tried both, made a lot of money, lost a bit, but it's just so high volatility for me personally that I like to stay away from it. I go for like cash investments, swing trades, hold a stock for a while, and then see what it does for
Right,
me.
right.
Yeah.
Are there certain sectors you're looking at right now?
Mostly like electronic components is working very well. Transformer stocks are absolutely ripping. And these sectors tend to give you overpriced stocks in the traditional sense of things, but they tend to give you good swing trades. So recently we had Keynes is a stock. Of course, this is no recommendation, but it's setting up very nicely, belongs to a nice sector. So you tend to focus on these names as well.
Right.
So Transformer and IPO stocks have been doing tremendously well. New IPOs. We had Vari Energies recently,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
was on everyone's radar because of renewables.
Okay.
Which
Yeah,
performed
yeah,
tremendously
yeah,
well.
yeah,
So that stock was on everyone's radar. NTPC Green, which is again a renewable energy stock, was on everyone's radar. Acme Solar. No, none of these are recommendations, but you see, stock market loves sectors.
Yeah.
And that's the whole idea about trading stocks, right? You want to expose yourself to the hotter ones and not expose yourself to the less hotter ones, like FMCG, for example. It's not doing too well right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
So we're going to leave it for a better day. And we're going to focus on these high strength stocks, high relative strength stocks.
Right.
Yeah.
What about cryptocurrency? Do you recommend getting into that?
To be very fair, I'm not a very smart guy. I don't understand crypto. But if I see something setting up, I will trade it. Why not? My sister's in the United States.
Right.
She has an account. So I trade crypto on her account all the time. And right now, full disclosure, I have Dogecoin, which is sort of a meme coin, right? Again, I just know what I'm doing. I know if things go south, where am I getting out? What amount of loss am I comfortable with? You know, if I take $1,000, $1,500 loss, I'm fine with it because the gains are also commensurate. But with that said, I only trade crypto. I don't really understand it as an instrument. So I'm going to stay out of it. However, we do look out for something called episodic pivots.
Okay.
This is a term by Pradeep Bonde.
Okay.
He says for any stock, any company or crypto, any commodity, there are certain events that are so episodic, they are so phenomenal that it can't help but have an impact on security prices.
Wow. Okay.
That happens with crypto when BlackRock joins Coinbase and they create a Bitcoin ETF. Now, Bitcoin was considered very sketchy and shady in the past, and they've got an ETF running for that, which means formally it's getting accepted, which means all those trillions that BlackRock manages may be exposed to the crypto ETF, which is called IBIT, IBIT. When that happens, you've got to just start focusing on crypto as a whole. That you know something is happening. And the day that news comes in, you don't expect volatility that day or that month. But certain decisions are going on behind the scenes, and you may see a tremendous move happening down the line. So this, I think, announcement, I think the ETF came in at about Jan 2024.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, it was starting to trade. And in a year, we've seen a tremendous rally in Bitcoin. In crypto as a whole. So watch out for episodic pivots in companies and stuff like that. And things can work out very well for you.
And do you use the same analysis that you use like in the stock market for crypto, or is it something that is different?
100% the same, with only this understanding that this thing is more volatile. So if this thing drops 8% in a day, it's the nature of this thing to do so. Which brings me to the point that we're always judging the character of stocks. Isn't that what we do with family members and with friends?
Absolutely.
We have an idea about that character. That she might get really irritated if I say something at this point, so I'd rather not. You got to understand the character of stocks. When they don't behave according to character, you start to notice them more. If some security has been falling for the longest time and it stops falling, you got to take note.
Right.
And after stopping the fall, it starts to rise, you got to take note. If I wake up at 6 a.m. every day and suddenly I start waking up at 12, if I do that one day, my parents are going to be like, he's resting. What if I do that 3-4 days in a row? They're like, dude, something's wrong.
Yes.
They're going to notice the change of character.
Right.
So whether it's crypto or stocks, it's the same knowledge that I apply. And I just try to work with the change in character of stocks and crypto.
Gives a very detailed lecture on, or like talks about, you talked about crypto and you talked about the stock markets, and I'm just like, I am an investor, but I don't look at my stocks. I just, somebody manages it for me.
Right.
Somebody being Sid. But
100% loss detected.
No, that's not true. But having said that, like, I felt like you mentioned that you're not a smart person, and I was just like, stop
if he's
talking.
not smart,
Then I am just feeling really like.
You know, to be honest, Veera, the difference between you and I right now, I would say, is a couple of books. And a couple of exposure.
I think it's also like a matter of interest.
200 किताबां हैं वीरा.
100%.
Yes.
You gotta be, like I said, fanatic about it. You gotta be invested in it.
Absolutely.
Somebody who's invested in coffee, they would know so much more than me who drinks a pod coffee, right? We were discussing that. It's a matter of interest. It's a matter of desire and a lot of commitment. And if you do that, why wouldn't the markets reward you?
Absolutely.
And that said, if you still don't get interested, you have to get exposed to the financial markets, whether you like them or not.
Right.
Then go for your passive instruments, go for your index funds and your mutual funds and your ETFs. Who's stopping you?
Would you recommend an FD ever?
Sorry?
An FD, like?
Fixed deposit. I have it. But I only have it because that's immediate cash. So touch wood, if something happens at home and I need immediate cash, I have it.
Right.
But beyond that, am I creating that to build wealth? No.
No.
Of course not.
Mhm.
But an FD, of course, is incredibly important because of the availability of just quick
You
access
can-
to
yeah.
liquidity.
Got
But
it.
will I break it for like a wedding or for a nice fancy car? Of course not.
Thankfully not, yeah.
But I recommend some liquidity because
Right.
if the market is down 30% and I need money for a medical emergency,
Mhm.
I wouldn't want to sell my stocks.
Mhm.
I'd rather just liquidate the fixed deposit.
Right.
And we're very lucky to have like 7% returns in India.
Yeah,
True,
it's really bad.
No other country is
It's-
giving you
yeah,
these
yeah.
returns. So I know you're barely beating inflation.
Inflation, yeah.
Or you're
By a percent
even under, not even a percent, let's say, whatever the figures are. You need access to quick money.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Agreed. So diversification is important.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just a
not
bit.
a lot.
Not
Not
a
a
lot.
lot. Yeah.
Great. So Baji, you've been creating content for like every day for over like an year and a
400
half.
460 plus days
460
now.
plus
Wow.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
how did this start? Like, what came into your mind? Okay, I'm going to get on Instagram and start vlogging every day.
I was on Instagram well before this journey.
Mm-hmm.
I was on Instagram since 2018 or 19. So I'd post a random video here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I would look good, which is, I think I might be looking quite decent today. So today I would tell myself, you got to record a video, bro. You're looking good. The turban's very nice today. The color's suiting you, whatever. But of course, if you treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay you like one.
Mm-hmm.
And then my sister calls me from United States and
Okay.
says, let's do the 75 hard.
Okay.
Wow.
And it hadn't gotten popular in India yet because it's an American
Yeah.
thing by
Yes.
Andy Frisella, right? I'm like, okay, I'll vlog it. She's like, tu villa hai, tu kar le. Main nahi kar sakti. I have a job to look after. So I just started vlogging it without any expectation of a reward, to be very honest. I just was disillusioned. So I'm like, what works out here? Because I'm not a person that can follow trends. I can't dance on Instagram. That's just not me.
Yeah.
I'll be sacrificing my authenticity if I do that for the sake of followers. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to create videos. And the secret to everything in life tends to be consistency. So I'm like,
Yes.
chalo, let's check it out here. Day 13, the video does decently well.
Okay.
Like I'm talking like 8,000 views or 10,000 views.
Okay.
And day 34 does tremendously well. I'm talking 50,000 views plus.
Wow, okay.
So it's from day 34 that people started to notice me. But even until day 50 or 60, I didn't have faith in myself that this thing's going to work. So at day 75, I actually asked myself, do I want to continue? And then I'm like, why not?
You've done it for 75 days. Like,
Why not?
Why
Let's
not?
just continue. Because
Yeah.
people are like, you got to take a break, you got to take it easy, you got to give yourself a break from social media,
Yeah.
get away from your phone for a while. And I'm like, why? If my boss had asked me to do this, I don't tell him I need a break from the computer screen. I'd show up. So why not for myself?
Right.
And I didn't want to give myself a break for the first time in my life.
So sorry, I'm cutting you. The question is, did you start vlogging the similar way, the exact same way that you're doing right now, like for the 75-day hard, or was it just workout videos?
No, it was the exact same way.
It was the exact same.
way. Of course, the videos got in a bit more refined.
Of course, with time it gets
With
better.
time, but
Yeah.
exact same way. For my 100-day journey, I had a normal Digitech tripod, which cost $500, which I still have in my bag.
Right.
And that's all I used. And it's the exact same thing. Nothing changed. Of course, in 75 hard, there are certain requirements.
Yeah.
So I would fulfill them and show them in video. And now there are no requirements. So I show them in video. For example, 4 liters of water.
Right.
Now, I don't mention it on my videos that are hydrated 4 liters because I don't think it's something that's providing tons of value. Now, I've gotten more interested in spirituality and trying to understand the spiritual religious texts. So I speak about that more and it resonates with the audience for sure. Yeah.
Very interesting.
And sorry, were you
Go
going on?
for it, go for
like,
it.
when do you, like, after 75 days, you continued? And when was it that you felt like, okay, now I'm actually making an impact on somebody? When did those DMs start to get in, like, hey, this is really helpful, I find value,
Right.
I've changed pretty much something in my life or my whole life? Like, when did you realize that you were doing
You know,
it?
Siddharth, we tend to discount ourselves so much. Even today, I'd be sitting with my father and I'll show him a DM or an email and I'd be like, Papa, I still can't believe the amount of impact a video can have. So sometimes I still feel like it's not that impactful. But now with the comments and the DMs and the emails, it just shows that there is an impact. But I haven't fully internalized it either, to be honest. So I think it's just, I don't think it's ever going to really get settled in Because how can one video of mine have such an impact that people have been moved to shed 10 kilograms? I get photos of like a bowl from Canada. It'll be like a salad, a recipe I might have uploaded, and they'll be like, dude, this is all because of your content. And I'm like, that's insane. But we are impressionable individuals. That's why company make it the man, right?
Yeah.
Because somewhere or the other, you are impressionable.
Absolutely.
So try to surround yourself with good content,
Right.
and life will be better for sure.
And I think the key to content is like try to be authentic. I think that's
be
like
you.
just be you. Just be
you.
yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like I was so conscious. I remember the first day, like I did that voiceover in Punjabi, and I was like, oh my god, this is. I am so scared. People are going all. So I obviously I'm not thinking about like the world on Instagram. I'm thinking about like the 10 friends that I have. They're gonna like sit and make fun of me and my Punjabi. So I was just
That's
like.
what you think.
I mean, of course
That's
they
what you
didn't,
think.
but I
Right.
obviously thought that, and I was just like, oh my god, like this is feeling really like scary. Like I remember doing that voiceover, and I was just like, I don't know how am I going to do this. And
Right.
so it's just like do it. I thought about it for a while. Like I didn't think I'll turn it into a vlog, but I just wanted to upload a video.
And how long have you done it?
I've done 94 reels.
But then
so I'm
that's
gonna do
3 a week, right?
3 a week.
So
Yeah.
how many weeks has it been, your journey?
I think I started in May.
May. And you're at 30K already.
Yes.
Oh, that's really good
She
progress.
has very good reach.
To be honest, it's your personality that shines through more than what you're doing. It's like people want to look at you and want to hear you because that energy is contagious even through a device.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really something that you've got going for you. And that's authentic.
Yeah.
No one can buy it. No one can create it. It's just you.
That's literally what you told me. He's like, you speak in Punjabi, nobody can take that away from you. And the way you speak in Punjabi.
Absolutely.
Nobody can do the things that you do because you do them like you do them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that was one of the reasons that
Yeah.
I started it. But like I felt, till date, I can't hear my own self. Like,
Yeah.
I can't hear my voice. I'm just like, oh, please shut it, please shut it.
Yeah.
It's not sounding
I can't
good.
do a voiceover in front of people. I get so conscious.
We can
It's
relate
only...
Sometimes I'll run away from her. I'll be like, Vita,
yeah, I need space. And I'll come and I'm like, I'm done, guys.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
good to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, authenticity is everything in content for sure. Yeah.
if I would ask you, like, if somebody's starting out in their, let's say, content journey, what is the one thing that you would say, like, just keep this in mind for starters? Like, one thing.
Right. The one thing that they should keep in mind is just try to provide value in some way. That's it. Whether you speak to the camera or you're in the car, whatever it is, you have to enhance people's lives. Because to be honest, if you follow me, and I'll be fair, you're not following me for me, you're following me for you.
Right.
What are you going to get out of it? What are you going to learn? Are you going to be inspired, entertained? You have to provide value for people and they'll stick around. The day you stop providing value, some will stick around, but most will go.
Yeah.
Now, your content might be providing different sort of value on yours and mine, but you got to think about the person listening to you. Ask yourself, would I pause if this came on my phone? Be very accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And if you wouldn't, why would anybody else?
There you go. Yeah.
So just provide value, and if you think you've done a good job, stick with it.
Just keep doing it consistently.
Just keep doing it.
Yeah. What's your one thing, like, if I ask you?
I think just be yourself. Like, I don't think like there should be a difference between your Instagram personality and your real life personality,
For sure.
because I feel like
To be
like,
authentic.
just be authentic, just be yourself. I feel like if I have to be somebody, like I saw this a lot while I was growing up, and Instagram was just, I've been on Instagram from the time Instagram became an app. Like I've
2010.
Yes, like from college. And I remember there was a time that I used to only do stories. I used to not post anything on the feed because I wanted my feed to look aesthetic and all that jazz.
Right.
And I did not understand Instagram too much, but I was really good. And I had a great engagement on my stories, always, like from the very beginning. And people said, you're funny, you should do this, and you should do something around like your joke delivery is funny, and you should do something like that. And I was just like, "Arey, whatever." Like, and then there was a time that we were doing CrossFit, and I thought we were doing quite decently well, and I was just like, I don't want to post on Instagram because it's private, and like I don't want nazar and
Yeah,
all
how do you
that.
deal with nazar? That's a big one. People ask me because my dogs are on it, my
Yeah.
parents are on it. So everything that's the most precious to me is on Instagram. if I do something well in life, like an achievement, the first thing I talk about it is on Instagram, on social, or on LinkedIn. So how do you reckon? How do you deal with nazar? I want to know that.
I feel like there is I don't think there is anything known as nazar. I think,
Okay.
I feel like it's, if you let things get to you, I feel like that is nazar, if that makes sense.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, if you let people get to you, there are going to be ups and downs. Not every day is going to be perfect. And if you're going to like let your downs define, and you're obviously going to relate it to something easier. Like, I feel like nazar is a very easy word to sort of, it's an escape quote, I feel. So I feel like if you're really like strong up here and you know, okay, shit, you're having a bad day, fine, you're having a bad day, get up. You know, you never tell a child when the child falls and gets hurt, ki, oh, kuch nahi hota, uth ja. You let the child be, and you let them deal with life. That's how life is. It's not supposed to be like a, you know.
You know, I discuss this with my parents all the time. What if I went to an astrologer and he says, wear a particular stone, whatever stone, and I wore it and my Instagram blew up? Then I would attribute the entire rise to that stone.
Yeah.
And that means now I'm in it. So the day I wouldn't have it on me, I wouldn't feel
You would feel
myself.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
And let's say I didn't have the stone for 2 days and the engagement dropped. I'd be like, oh man, gotta get that stone.
So you're basically, I feel like
फंस गए
you're
पंटा पे।
हाँ,
Fast gave it.
no, you're relying your entire life around that.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people are also superstitious कि मैं ये करके बाहर निकलती हूँ घर से, उस दिन मैंने ये नहीं किया था इसलिए something really bad happened.
Right.
You know what I
Lucky
mean?
purse
Like,
and lucky
yeah,
dress.
there's like a pen or whatever. I feel like I used to be very particular, but I feel like when we started following, we follow a little bit of Buddhism.
Right.
So that tells you that you're the person making your decisions. Whatever happens is because
It's
of
on
you.
you.
It's on you, and you're the sole reason for whatever happens to you. It's not anybody.
Actions have consequences.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I feel like that sort of makes perspectives and things much easier. You know.
It also helps you take more accountability.
Absolutely. So you, rather than putting it away and shunning it away and saying, oh, this happened because this person did this to me.
Right.
I feel like it happened because you acted out, or you acted like a really horrible person, and that's
Yeah.
why it happened.
Yeah, this is so interesting. This is what I do in my content. I've figured out certain basic things, certain basic actions that have the most amount of consequence.
Right.
Daily posting keeps my community engaged. Daily workouts keeps me healthy and my mind strong. Daily reading keeps me apprised and my mind strong. Yeah, and that's something that I think about in terms of content as well. What sort of actions, the basic actions, the daily actions are going to have the most amount of tremendous consequence. Now, the consequence is not guaranteed, but what's the probability?
Right.
Right? If I'm driving drunk every day,
The probability of you
the
hitting.
probability of hitting someone or injuring myself is very high. So I'm not going to do that. So do a daily workout, read daily, and then wake up at a certain time. Walk daily with your dogs. I was worried about my dog getting very chonky for a while. Then
Okay.
I'm like, I can stress about it, or I can just do daily
something about
walks.
it. Yeah.
Now the daily walk might be a kilometer, could be 10. But we're going to show up at the road, at the footpath every single day, and he's far fitter.
Wow.
So figure out what simple habits in your life are going to have the most tremendous amount of consequence that you seek. And with that, subject yourself to the divine will and proceed as if the universe is looking out for you. Because you've got to be a bit optimistic in life.
Absolutely.
100%.
You have to be
Very important.
optimistic. Yeah.
Very optimistic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very optimistic.
I'm also very optimistic.
But you mentioned working out every day, right? Now, how has that helped in kind of the other things that you do in life, like your mindset, your work, which is trading right now, and content creation? Does it have a role in all these things?
I think everything I do has boiled down to just one thing, is that showing up is key. I work out every single day, not for my body, but mostly for my mind. Today morning, you guys didn't expect me to show up for the workout.
We did not.
I didn't want to. We were groggy, right? At best. But I knew that if I did not, that would undo so much effort that I've put throughout this journey. So I showed up for that. And when I show up for that workout, I show up for my trading. I show up for my parents. I show up for my dogs. And I show up for this podcast. Which means showing up is key. And I don't levy any performance pressure on myself.
I think that's amazing.
If it's a bad workout, so
Yeah.
what?
It's
get
not
a
the end
better
of the
one.
world.
It's not the end
Yeah.
of the world. You know, if you had an interaction with a dear friend and it didn't go nicely, that's fine. This is the human experience. Why should everything be so exceptional and aesthetic and Instagram worthy? That's okay. But show up every single day because you build a stronger mind. I don't know any other recipe to build a stronger mind.
Yeah, just show up. I think that's the best solution
Just
to.
show up.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to feel like it. That's the tricky part. In movies, you think the protagonist feels like it, but ask any big athlete. Ronaldo says it all the time. I don't feel like doing it, I still do it. And that's the key. He could end his interview in 2 sentences.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to know.
Just show up.
Yeah, and that's like, that just makes
I
sense.
think that makes sense for everything, like you said. Like you need to just show up for your content, for your dogs, for your parents, for your workouts, for your friends, for everything in life, for work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like when we talk about fitness and even I think trading or anything in life actually,
Right.
this is a slow game. It's a game where you require consistency and results will be seen in time, right? Like they say, like, let's say meditation. Let's say I tell myself to sit for 5 minutes.
Right.
I probably won't be able to do that. I'll try it for 2-3 days. I'll be like, you know what, this doesn't work. Because I want quick results. Everybody wants quick results these days. But when you, let's say, take a pill, like a Xanax, suddenly you're like in bliss. And I think everybody is looking for that pill in every aspect of life. I want a pill that gives me abs. I want a pill that makes me smarter.
I want a pill that makes me rich.
Right?
Yeah, certainly.
So how do you tell your mind, let's say for a person who's listening right now, how do you tell them to kind of keep going and that this is a slow game and results will be seen in time?
I honestly, before telling it to anyone, I try to internalize it myself. We were landscaping our garden. We got this tiny sapling and it's grown up to be a huge tree. It's almost 20 feet tall now.
Oh, wow.
Right? And that just shows me there's so much work going on underground behind the scenes and reminds me that a quick fix will not solve anything. A crash diet. I honestly have no opinions on a ketogenic diet. I don't know the pros and cons, but I have noticed that people who get on it to lose fat very quickly. But because you've applied a cheat code and you don't have the requisite discipline to carry you forward, they gain it all back and then some.
And then some, yeah.
A quick fix has just never worked. The process is everything. And why? It's not for the reward. It's the journey. Now, I don't know what the reward will hold, what reward I may get eventually out of Instagram, but the journey has been beautiful. I get to meet like-minded people. We get to do workouts together. We meet as if we are family.
Yeah.
I have dined at your house today. That opportunity would not have been possible if not for the process.
Right.
And I'm sitting here not because I have 250k followers, because you notice the process I've put in. So always go for the process. It's just going to give you more fulfillment and more purpose out of life, which is why we're here.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes.
You might think you're here for lots of money. It's the process that you're here for, the step to earning that money. Because if you win a lottery today, it's not going to make you content and fulfilled like earning that requisite amount of money through your hard work, for sure.
So I think be an example, experiment, and I think that's what we do on Instagram. We show people that this is what we do. It works for us, keeps us healthy, wealthy, wise, and you should do it too.
And you should do it too, because we've tried to figure out the solutions to certain universal problems. How to have more control over your time, how to be fitter. And we've tried to package the solution in the form of a vlog.
Yeah.
And eventually, for someone like me, I've also tried to monetize the solution, which is fine, because people are very eager to pay you if you can really improve their life with concrete results.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? I
Why
mean,
not?
if somebody's getting value from, something that they pay, I think that's like, it's like I spent money on an iPhone, I got an iPhone, I'm happy with it.
People tend to value something they've paid for. I've done free webinars and I've done paid ones. Free ones, barely anyone shows up.
Well, this is like us. When I came back from Bombay, opened up the box, CrossFit Club.
Right.
I used to give out a lot of nutrition plans. Okay, you should do this because it's fairly simple. A nutrition plan is fairly simple.
Right.
It's just like, okay, eat 3 square meals, have your protein, be mindful of your carbohydrates.
Right.
I think we were really bothered about like helping people.
Yeah.
Like we really truly want, like that was one, I think we were young, that was one business that was just like not for the money.
Seva.
It was just seva. It was literally that. Like if you, the best, we would be there from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. for 6 days a week into 5 years
Right.
of our lives.
I
We
mean, we've
literally
cleaned
lived in the
bathrooms, we've mopped the floor. We enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Like, okay, let's
certainly.
clean up. Oh, I want to do the bathrooms, a little like that. But then we started giving out these diets and nobody really cared.
Yeah.
I give somebody a nutrition plan the next day. I'm like, okay, have you started? I'll probably start from Monday. And we felt bad. It's like, I'm trying to help you out here.
Yeah.
But then we started putting a little price on it.
Yeah.
Negligible, like maybe $1,000. Okay.
Yeah.
And people suddenly started valuing it.
Yeah.
So they got results. So I was like,
Paid
okay, if
for it.
that $1,000 is going to give you more results than me giving something to you for free, then you know what? Let's charge for this shit.
Yeah.
Because then we sit down, I was like, Veera, we are never giving out something for free. Because we've worked hard, we've studied, we've experienced, we've helped people out, and we're here now.
It's simple human psychology at play. And you guys, by giving out free plans, you were going against basic human psychology because you also wouldn't value something given out for free.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And you just forgot that simple rule,
Yeah.
and now you've been reminded of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and some. But like talking about monetization from Instagram, like for a new creator, let's say, how would you kind of, what would you recommend that they do to monetize theirs? What are the different things that they can do to earn money out of Instagram?
The only thing I thought possible was brand collaborations and brand deals, which a lot of influencers still do, content creators. But brand deals are a negligible source of my income personally. My income is more of these webinars and the level up weekends,
Right.
and the mindset sessions and stuff like that I do. And of course, the brand deals are also a part of it.
Right.
But to monetize your Instagram, I would just say, again, convince a brand that you can provide value to people, and then people really resonate with your content and engage, and you can eventually monetize it for
Right,
sure.
right.
Start small, take baby steps, but stick with products that you resonate with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Like you can't be like, oh, buy the soap because.
Yeah, if I wouldn't use this soap myself,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And be okay with it. Whether
Yeah.
you use an expensive soap or a reasonably priced, that's fine.
Yeah.
We're not here to judge anyone, but the point is, be you.
Right.
Yeah,
And you
be
can
you.
eventually monetize it, but it's such a different journey for everyone. Like, for
Yeah.
example, I have something called a level up weekend.
Yeah. So what
Like
is
a wellness retreat.
Okay.
They come down to Dehradun for 2 nights
Nice.
and 3 days, and they stay at my Airbnb.
all right.
And we do mindset sessions together. We talk stocks together. We work out together. We eat
Wow.
all meals together.
Oh, wow.
So we walk the dogs together.
Oh, wow.
So it's basically living my life
Yeah.
with me. And I try to convince them about not only the benefits of slow living, but also that the basics are the only thing you should be focusing on. So many people take different things back. Now, I never knew that I could monetize something called a level up weekend, or that people would even be interested. You won't believe it. The first time I uploaded a story, I was so conscious. I'm like, people are going to judge me. What is he doing? And the response I got from some individuals is, we thought you were a genius for creating this.
Wow.
So we tend to be so harsh on ourselves, but your monetization journey is going to be very different. But don't feel ashamed to monetize something that you're providing value for. That's how the
World
system
works.
works.
Yeah.
And that's how everyone gets better, right?
Right.
So
So what does your mindset session look like? Like what, for example, like if we're coming for a level up weekend, what is like, sorry, it's on the I'm asking on the podcast, but like just a brief, because I feel like mindset is the most important thing
right.
when it comes to anything, right? Like whether you're trading or whether you're like showing up every morning at the gym or you're showing up at work. So I feel like, because we get this a lot as to, can you teach us how to be consistent?
100%. That's exactly what the mindset sessions are about. And these are 2 hours long. And
Okay.
I'll be doing one in Delhi, December 22nd. This involves basically figuring out a lot of the first pages. We work with a sheet that I hand out that I've curated myself. And we talk about introspection. Have you really sat down and figured out what your ideal life is? I know you're supposed to go get a job and work hard and stuff like that, but what do you want to do? What do you want to work hard at? Because if you are not following your ideal life today onwards, at least a semblance of it, you're going to be in conflict with your psyche, and that's going to cause stress, and then it's going to cause depression and stuff like that. So the first page is all introspection. The second page is all about setting daily systems. Systemize everything. We spoke of that yesterday. Try to do something for your body every single day. Automatically, you're going to have a better body by the end of the year or by the end of 5 years. Do something for your mind every single day. automatically you're going to have a stronger mind. And third, and what we discuss is the importance of adopting suffering in your life.
Oh, okay.
Suffering is something that we all run away from,
Agreed.
right? Cold water, waking up for that workout, waking up early. If you learn to suffer, life not only gets more beautiful, you get these natural dopamine hits in your brain, which is what happens after a run. You guys went for a run this morning.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's not a lot of runs that you felt absolutely miserable about later.
True.
Because your body's releasing more dopamine in your brain and making you happier. So adopt suffering, and this has been pulled from the wisdom of, for example, Nietzsche and Marcus Aurelius and Guru Nanak Dev Ji. All of them have spoken about suffering in different words. That you are present on earth not for the pursuit of pleasure, because that leaves you empty, but to endure and exert yourself. Because that makes you happy and you feel like you did something, and you go to bed very soundly.
Right.
Whatever money you made, you don't even think of it. You tell yourself, I woke up, I did what I was supposed to do, and I'll do the same thing again, and the result will just come. The result, which is money, better body, more friends, better status, that's a byproduct. The real reward is the character development you went through. The 460-day journey built my character up. Revenue stream is entirely a byproduct.
Yeah.
For sure. So this is what the mindset sessions are about. When people leave, they realize that honestly, there's nothing like motivation. Please don't rely on it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to systemize your life. And whatever Karan's doing, we're literally 3 months away from him. Just do what I'm doing. Do it for 3 months. And you can probably host a session yourself.
Yeah.
I don't claim to talk about anything novel. The amazing ideas have been penned down. You've just got to focus on them and remember them.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I will tell you that the way it's packaged, it tends to resonate with people.
Right.
Which is why they are okay paying me for that session of 2 hours, and which is why they might not pay somebody else. Right.
Amazing.
You got to be a good storyteller.
Yeah.
People love stories, analogies, and examples.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But how does spirituality help in the whole picture? Like, there's mindset happening, there's working out, there's monetization happening.
Right.
How does spirituality kind of help? Like, I've seen on your blogs, you read the Japji Sahib and other bodies, various books, and you kind of very beautifully explain it to maybe somebody who doesn't understand Punjabi.
Like me.
Like you understand Punjabi now, but then and I know that provides value for a lot of people.
It does, yeah.
How did you kind of figure out that you need to read these things and kind of,
Parents have always asked me to do it,
Okay.
but then of course if they've asked me, I'm not going to follow suit. Come on. It has to come from within.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, okay, Sikhism is a fairly new religion. And let's talk the Bhagavad Gita. It's a seminal text. If so many wise people talk about its importance, there must be something in it. Let's figure it out. Now, merely reading it is not going to help. I've got to internalize it and understand it, what's being said. And I honestly reserve the right to be critical of any text, whether the Japji Sahib or anything else, because why not? That's what our gurus would have wanted, to question and to arrive at an answer instead of just blindly
following it.
Right?
Yes.
So I got into the journey and I realized, man, this is so beautiful. The concept of suffering is there in Japji Sahib. It says that's how you make gold out of yourself, is through suffering. Self-restraint. The Bhagavad Gita focuses on discipline of the mind all the time. So the concepts are similar, and spirituality really helps me in my daily life by reminding me as to what matters. What really matters. The money, the YouTube subscribers, the monetization is very important. The worldly life is very important. But eventually your job is to go towards self-actualization, towards the universe, and to spend quality time with your family and dogs and everything. And that just reminds me that all of this tends to be noise. And while this noise is very important to conduct yourself in the world that we live in, but it's not that it's all cracked up to be. It's just made me a happier person already.
Wow.
Now I'm so grateful. I actually drive a car which is 12 years old. I'm so grateful for it. You know what I tell myself every moment? This car has kept me safe and others safe for 12 years and keeps my dogs safe today. How can I not be grateful to this car? So I have no idea of intention of getting rid of it. And instead of just looking out for something fancy, I have started appreciating that old car now. And it's going to be very precious to me forever. So that's how spirituality has really helped me by really living in the moment and slowing down.
Basically, understanding what you have and kind of being grateful, more grateful for what you already have.
100%. Just being very present and accountable. Like, I have so much. Who wouldn't be grateful for this, right? Because you honestly are living the dream life for so many other people.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So you got to be grateful in the moment.
Agreed.
So spirituality has really helped me in life for sure.
Wonderful. I think even Buddhism, like the three noble truths, start. That's how Buddhism, when you start reading about it, it's like dukkha, anicca, anatta.
Right.
Dukkha, suffering. First word that you read about
It is
in
suffering.
Buddhism is suffering. Like you have to suffer. Everybody suffers. There is sufferance in wanting something. There is sufferance in not having that thing anymore. There is
Right.
sufferance in relationship. Everything like anicca is impermanence. Like
Right.
everything
Nothing is
has to,
Ephemeral and
from a
transient.
leaf to a human being to probably this earth, is eventually going to not be there.
Right.
And anatta is the non-self. Like there is no
self.
I.
Mm-hmm.
It is just like this body and whatever this culmination of emotions and experiences is, and we'll just live through this life, and one day we'll be gone.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, it's
Yeah, so we
basically
might
stop
get-
taking things so seriously,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
What the hell, right?
Yeah.
Video game है video game की तरह खेल.
Huh, it's like a game.
Yeah.
It's like I'm sure you know about Naval Ravikant.
Yeah, yeah.
So he says like it's like there's the content game, there's the money game, these are games that you have to master, he says.
Yeah.
And then you dwell into spirituality and you go to those open-ended questions like why are we here and what is life, which we know there is no answer to, but kind of reading about them, dwelling in them will make you a smarter person because you'll research,
I love the game analogy, to be honest, because how do you get better in a game? You level up,
Yeah.
you cross certain levels, you get skilled, you get better armor and stuff like that. And that's literally how life is.
Yeah.
Take
And
it like a game. How can I be more skilled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you can only get better by playing it like you're playing it rather than just sitting and
Yeah, that this is
cribbing about,
destiny.
yeah, this is destiny.
ये
Or
तो
crying
लिखा है,
about it,
हाँ,
तो
लिखा
लिखा है,
हुआ है.
ऐसे ही होना था.
Right.
I feel like you need to play the game. Like if the game is playing you, you play the
Play
game.
the game. And
Yeah.
sometimes, even if you're playing the game real well, something might happen. And that's the divine will.
yeah.
But take accountability and play the game well as you can. And be grateful that you got to play the game for however long you did.
Yes, exactly. Say in the moment.
Yeah.
But so we did a story and we asked our audience
I'm
as
really
to
excited for that.
what questions they would want to ask you. So
All
I'm
right,
gonna
let's go
throw
for
some
it.
questions at you right now.
Okay.
Please
And
ask the first question.
Of course, I'll ask the first question. Okay, the first question is, where is it?
It's all the way in the end.
No. Huh. So I'm not going to name who this is,
Yeah,
but
naturally.
so this is a very serious question, buddy. Please, like, I want 100% focus. So somebody asks, I want to ask him out.
Right.
Can you help me with it?
XO.
Heart, and
XOXO.
XOXO.
Hugs and kisses.
So my question to you is, are you available? Like,
Yeah. I broke up a while back, but yeah, it's all tricky. But yeah,
Right.
I would wanna, whenever I look at, I had a very cynical view of marriage for the longest time, and I'm like, why do we need a partner? Are we even meant to be monogamous? All those questions that perturb you. But when I see beautiful, thriving marriages that are more like friendships, I'm like, yeah, I could pull this off. This sounds cool because there's this unconditional element to it, and you're flawed, and you're still showing up for one another.
Right.
And I love the idea of a marriage where both are individuals unto themselves.
Yep.
You go pursue your goals and I'll go pursue mine, and should I fall, I know you're there.
You're there.
And should you fall, I'm here.
Yeah.
I like that idea, but if the lady should just show up at my meetups.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll say hi.
You know who you are. Just send him a message.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is it safe to trade Bitcoin? I've already asked that.
Yeah, just trade it.
So, what are some book recommendations? So, general, like, let's not say stock or mindset. 3 books that you feel everybody should read.
I would say The Slight Edge.
Okay.
This talks about the basic compounding effect of daily living and talks about extrapolating simple efforts.
Okay.
So if you walk every day, might not look like much for a month, but what about 3 years? And what about 10 years? Now things are piling up. And the second book I'd recommend is Psycho-Cybernetics because it talks about the fact that whatever's running in your head is reality and not fiction. Your brain thinks it's real. So be careful about what you run in your head all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a very powerful concept. And a third book that I highly recommend would be the Almanac of Nawal Ravikant.
Yeah.
Just simply stated, and a lot of wisdom in there.
Yeah, it's a
But
great
I would say just take the top 100 books and just read them 10 times and 100
Wow.
times and 1,000 times instead of just going for a million books. I think Nawal says it all the time. Work with the books. Really
Yeah.
internalize them.
Yeah.
Because come to think of it, they all say pretty much the
Pretty
same,
much the same
thing.
thing in different ways.
I read this book called Same as Ever.
Okay.
And in that, they're talking about Sapiens. It's one of the best-selling books of all time.
Yeah.
So someone was critiquing it, and they're like, dude, the guy says nothing novel. There's nothing new in it. And they go back to the author, and they're like, that's what this guy has to say. And he's like, yeah, he's correct. I don't claim to create anything new or to talk about anything new. I just have written it better than most other people
Yeah.
can.
You just documented it.
Just documented it better. So become a better storyteller, and people will resonate with you because the wisdom is all the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
The basics matter. No matter what anyone says, gravity is in force. And if you move, your body will thank you for it.
Yeah. Agreed.
And if you don't sleep for 10 years, you know 11th year is not going to be very pleasant if you don't sleep soundly.
Agreed.
So the basics matter, and
Love that.
focus on the basics. So these 3 books I would want to read over and over again
Wow,
for sure.
wow, wow. I think it's like something like when you want to start a business, people are like, don't reinvent the wheel because it's already invented.
Yeah.
You know, you need to see and figure
How
out
to do
what's
it better.
already
Yeah,
working
do it
and
bet-
like, you know,
Yeah.
And do it
books
better.
are already there. Like,
It's all there. Internalize them. Work with them.
internalize them. Somebody says, best collaboration. Thank you, whoever you are.
Thank you.
Ketan Preet, thank you. Okay, one more question, Baji. Okay, actually 2 more. So first one is long-term investment / SIP or stocks.
I think what they're trying to ask is, should I do a long term or should I do
Sip.
should I do a SIP or should I invest in stocks? Is that
Okay, I think so.
I'll try to answer the question the best I can. Have a long-term portfolio,
Okay.
and if you're interested in trading, have a short-term portfolio as well.
Okay.
But if you're not interested in trading, then only have a long-term portfolio, and within that, you can have your SIPs, and you can have some stocks that you expose yourself to. But if you're only a passive investor, be very aggressive with index funds and SIPs and mutual funds, because the chances of wealth destruction will be far lower there. Because
Right.
if you buy Nifty 50, for example, you're getting exposure to all 50 stocks.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
if 2 go bust, 48 will save you, and then 2 more will replace the stocks in the index. But if you buy 2 stocks out of Nifty 50 and they both go bust, you just lost 100% of your capital.
Wow.
So when you
There
do
you go.
long-term investing, just stick with the process, and the process tends to work over a period of time. And how do we say that? Because history suggests it does.
There you go.
Right.
It's already
Love
written
that.
I mean,
everywhere.
think about it. We've already seen an appreciation of asset prices around the world.
Yeah.
In 30 years, do you not imagine that companies will be more valuable than they are today?
Absolutely will be.
Wouldn't this room be more valuable as a piece of real estate
Yeah,
than
yeah.
it is today?
Yeah.
With that logic, invest for the next 30 years and you'll be very happy.
And I think analysis says that no long-term 10-year portfolio is at a loss. Like they're all in a profit.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in a loss, we've got to really meet the guy. What'd you do, son?
Maybe invest in those 2 stocks on Nifty. Wonderful.
Are we getting another one?
I think I saw.
Yeah, he said we have
something-
2 more.
Okay.
Something interesting.
That's a lot of questions.
That's a
though.
lot of questions.
I'm
yeah.
surprised.
People really want to ask you a lot of things, guys. Mind go to the Level Up seminar, okay? Ask them. You're not going to get everything here. Wow, I think we talked about this, and I think it's like how to keep ourselves motivated when you are even struggling to get out of bed.
Right. And I can understand, honestly, how hard it can be to start from scratch or something. But I would say just start with the most basic baby step,
Which is just taking a step.
which might be for day one,
One
taking a
step.
step. And I would say do that same thing for 30 days. Just the easiest thing on earth. Don't focus on the reward. Don't focus on the outcome. Ki isse to kya hi hoga? Kuch nahi hoga. Your mind will get comfortable with the idea of doing that things simply every single day. And then you can build upon it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The stronger your mind gets, make your routine more complex. But start with very simple that you can do sustainably for the rest of your life. Can you work out every day for the rest of your life? I think you can. Because a walk is a workout. A yoga mat stretching session is a workout. And that you can do no matter where you are in the world. So
Even like playing with your dogs, playing with your children, you're actively moving. I feel like
Yeah.
you're still doing something, and that's great.
pledge to move for 50 minutes with your kids and your dogs. That's a workout.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, just start with baby steps. They'll build the muscle up in your mind.
Right. Right.
The bodily muscle is very simply built by tearing the muscle down and then it gets stronger.
yeah.
The mind is simply built by suffering, which is tearing it down, and then it builds itself stronger. Give it opportunity to be torn down. Because if you don't tear it down, society will come tear it down for you.
Yeah.
If you don't create a business or an income source, you'll have to get a job.
Yeah.
And you might not enjoy it. So somebody's coming to tear you down. So you might as well do it yourself.
Easier, much
Agree.
easier.
Much
Agree.
easier,
Much
and
easier.
the experience is far more
Yeah,
pleasant.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the cold water is coming for you,
Yeah.
the proverbial cold water. So you might as well take a dip yourself. Because if 2 to 4 people pull you into it, you're just going to hate the entire
That's not
experience.
going to be a nice
It's not going to
experience.
be...
I think.
That's a very well way to put it.
Yeah.
Did you ever face? That's my question to you. Did you ever face, this constant feeling of like not being motivated or not showing up, or it was always not like this. At least for me, like I did not feel that I wanted to, like show up every day. I would slack.
Right.
There were days where I didn't want to, and I feel like now, of course, I've traveled that path where I feel like, okay, yeah, even if I'm not feeling it, I feel like my mind is strong enough to be like, oh, just shut up. I just need to show up.
Right.
But like, was there a time where you felt like you didn't want to do any of it?
I mean, for the longest time. I actually have been on this journey because I hit rock bottom. I had zero self-love. I had zero self-respect because I knew, dude, you can do so much more. You're not doing it. And the only reason you're not doing it, that mood nahi kar raha. But if it goes on like this, by the time you're 40, 50, let alone society not respecting you, you already will not be respecting yourself. So I actually hit rock bottom and then I switched things around. I think that's just a personality trait. As long as I don't hit rock bottom, I don't really make a change. But yes, I wasn't motivated for the longest time, and even today I'm not. This morning I didn't want to show up for that workout. But we gave it 10 minutes, we warmed up, we stretched.
yeah.
And it just ended up happening. The state of flow takes over. When we started this, we were fumbling a bit.
Yeah.
And then the state of flow just took over. Give yourself those 10 minutes. And the 11th is going to be a glorious
Amazing.
sunrise.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Love that.
Well, I think on that note, Paji, it was a pleasure
Likewise.
talking to you.
Lovely.
Likewise.
And honestly, like I've said this before, I'm going to say this again. Like, it does not feel that I'm meeting you for the first time. It's something like we've been like chit-chatting since a while, and you just happened to come in after some time, and we're just catching up from that moment.
Right.
So I guess I don't know how I can explain that better, but thank you for being you.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you for doing what you do on Instagram. Thank you for what you do
Motivating
on your...
a lot, like all of us, including me.
Yeah. I think more than motivation, like teaching people that discipline is way beyond motivation.
Yeah, for sure.
Motivation is very temporary. Like you get inspired and motivated,
yeah.
and then next day you're like, yeah, whatever. But I think that consistency over the journey in your consistency on your Instagram, kind of like I said, like it
Resonates.
definitely resonated with me, and I did the exact same thing. So I didn't reinvent the wheel. I just pretty much just copy pasted, right? So so thank you very much, Paji.
It's my
It was a
pleasure.
pleasure. I hope you had
my
a good
pleasure.
time.
It was amazing. It's been an amazing weekend.
Yeah,
And
it has.
yeah,
And you guys gave us a lot of time. So I'm very grateful for that.
we do
And-
nothing.
And you guys
chill the whole
slowed
time.
down your workouts for us. And it's just, honestly, it's
No.
not even you, it's God's plan.
There you go.
It's not even you. I don't think you should take all the credit. It's the universe that made it possible.
Agreed.
But thanks so much. I had a wonderful time chatting, and I hope all of you enjoyed it as well.
I hope all of you did. And thank you very much for watching, guys. We are going to mention all of Paji's socials in the description. Also, the link to his Level Up seminar. Whenever it is happening next, you'll get to know from there. And like always, if you found value in this piece of video or audio, I don't know what you're doing, but do share it with somebody who might find value or is struggling in life, just figuring out what to do
Right.
and how to do it. So thank you very much. This is me, Sid, signing off.
And this is me, Veera Singh. Bye-bye.
Sat Sri Akal.
Sasrika. See you guys. Thank you. Wow, wonderful.
Thank you.
There you go.